Medicare 101. This, if you get this part down, all the other stuff that is in between, how does this work? What is this? And all of that, you'll be able to logically think about it and be able to answer the question generally. Okay. So, in saying that, every time I meet with people over the phone and talk to them or meet people in person, there's a lot of confusion when it comes to Medicare. People really don't understand how the process works, why it works the way it does, if you can have it, if you can't have it. And there are some caveats to that that this particular training will explain. But at the same time, I will also be able to will go into each aspect of what we're covering and give more information. Okay, so Medicare is broken down into four different parts. Okay, and you hear the letters thrown around all the time. Medicare Part A is your hospital coverage. Now, what puts you in a position to where you qualify for that is you have to have worked 40 quarters, 40 plus quarters. If you've worked 40 plus quarters, when you turn 65, you automatically qualify for Part A. Okay, Part A covers your hospital stay. If you go into the hospital, it covers all of that. But one of the things about that is that there's a $1,632 deductible that you have to pay if you go into the hospital if you're on the $0 monthly cost for your Part A hospital coverage. If you work less than 40 hours and you work anywhere from 30 to 39 quarters, you get about, it's going to cost you about $278 to have Part A hospital Medicare coverage. Okay. If you work less than 30 quarters, it's going to cost you $505. And that's really expensive. You will run into this if, depending upon the type of people you're working with, when the first question you ask is, do you have a red, white, and blue card? They're going to give you the red, white, and blue card. And this is something we're going to cover later, how you take that identification number, you punch it into the system, and it tells you when their Part A was active. If it more likely will say it on the card, but it tells you when they got qualified for Part A and whether or not they have the next part, which is Part B. Okay. So the big thing with Part A, if they don't have Part A, they're pretty much going to be up the creek, and they're going to be more likely subject to just being on Medicaid. Okay. That's something we'll cover also. So Medicare, understanding Medicare is something that is part of the federal government Social Security system. If you work 40 hours, you saw a deduction in your paycheck every month for Medicare taxes coming out of your paycheck every month. Okay. Part A also, when you have it, it's part of what we refer to as original Medicare. When someone talks about original Medicare, they're referring to Part A and Part B of Medicare, which we'll jump into next year, Part B. Medicare Part A also, if you go into the hospital after you've met your deductible, you're still going to days 1 through 60. If you stay in the hospital days 1 through 60, you don't have to pay the hospital anything minus the deductible that you pay. If you're in the hospital days 61 through 90, you're going to pay $408 a day. Okay. And you see the other number on the screen. It can go up as high as $816 a day. Okay. So that's a lot of money that you're spending when you're in the hospital if you get sick. Healthcare is something that is just, it's crazy, and especially here in this country. Okay. Also, Part A will cover your skilled nursing. Okay. Skilled nursing is something that If you require skilled nursing to go into a skilled nursing facility, then and here's a caveat to getting the skilled nursing that the federal government will pick up skilled nursing. You have to have completed a 3-day stay in the hospital at a minimum. There has to be a total of 72 hours that you were required to stay in the hospital, and then they all of a sudden say, we're going to move you to a skilled nursing facility. Days 1 through 20, you're not going to pay anything for that coverage. Days 21 through 100 is going to cost you $204 a day. Okay? This is all the benefits, quote unquote, that you get under your Medicare Part A hospital coverage. Also, it covers hospice and home health services are also covered under the Medicare Part A for hospice. Everybody understands what hospice is, right? Nod your head, wave something. Okay, good. All right. Any questions on Medicare Part A? Does everybody understand it? Good.
Part A, original Medicare.
I have one question.
Yes.
You have to work 40 quarters to qualify, and you have to get your Medicare deductions from your paycheck. So if you're a 1099, you don't qualify. You have to be a W-2, right?
It's not true, because if you if you're 1099, if you're 1099, you've been 1099 for a while and you've been filing taxes and you understand how taxes work, you pay what is referred to as a self-employment tax. And self-employment tax goes towards your Social Security and it goes towards your Medicare. Okay. So
It's good to know.
So that's a tax you have to pay.
I didn't even know that.
Okay.
But and you automatically get charged by the IRS, right, for that?
Well, when you file your taxes, when you're filing if you file a worksheet and you're doing it by pencil and paper, you come to a line that says, this is what your self-employment tax is on the current money that you earn being self-employed.
Gotcha.
Question?
Hey, Troy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Myself, I've been doing. Remember, since 2008, I've been doing, self-employed. So for the last 16 years, I've been filing with William that way. So, and every time he said, this is for your Medicare when you get old.
Right.
So don't worry about that. 1099 is all the same thing.
Right.
The taxman has to put it together. That's
that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things you can do if you're approaching age 65 or anytime you want, you can log into the Social Security website and check your account and see what they have credited you for. And believe it or not, they'll go all the way back to the first time you got a job. And one of the things that I've run into people that did not have enough hours, I tell them, hey, go in and audit your account yourself and make sure every job that you ever work, which after age 65, that's what, 30 something years maybe plus that you've been working. It's kind of difficult to remember every job you had, but sometimes the people that were paying you may not have been reporting also.
Right. As long as you didn't work under the table.
Right.
Like some people do.
You could work for somebody that was collecting the Social Security tax from you and the federal and state taxes, but they did not send that money to the IRS in your name. Okay, that happens. Okay, and that person should be being hunted down by the IRS anyway because they didn't send the money that they were withholding from your check. Okay, so generally, if you don't get a W-2 at the end of the year for somebody you've been working for, it's likely they didn't report it, or if you get one, they still might not report it. When you go to file your taxes, they'll say, well, we don't have no report from your employer that you said you work for that gave you this W-2. So those are situations that don't happen a lot, but they do happen. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to Part B. We're good on Part A. Everybody understands Part A. It's part of original Original Medicare. When someone talks about original Medicare, they're referring to Part A, and they're also going to be referring to Part B. Part B is your doctor and outpatient coverage. Okay. It covers your doctor visits, outpatient care, lab work. The monthly premium that you will pay for Part B is deducted automatically from your paycheck. I mean, from your Social Security check. Okay. So when you turn 65, you have to file for Medicare. And so when you turn 65 and you file for Medicare, you're also going to have to make an election of whether or not you want Part B right away. If you have credible coverage, let's say you're married, your husband works, and you turn 65 for him before him, or he's 65 or 66 and he's still working and he has coverage through his employer, you could still be on his plan and you wouldn't have to activate your Part B. You would not have to activate your Part B plan right away. Okay. Hey, Chris, I'm going to make you're there. Are you capable if I make you the host?
Yes, sir. Co-host.
All right, I'm going to make you co-host because I'm keep getting distracted from letting people in. All right, so you're now the co-host. Hooray, Chris is the co-host. All right. All right. So your Part B is something that if you turn 65 and you don't have any other extra coverage, you don't have a job, you're still working or something like that, you have to activate your Part B right away at the age of 65, and they're going to deduct $185 from your paycheck yearly. Monthly from your paycheck. Okay, your Social Security check. I don't even call it paycheck. Your Social Security check, they're going to deduct 185. You also have a $257 deductible that you have to meet for your Part B coverage. Okay, for things like lab work, outpatient care, doctor visits. Okay, now after you pay your deductible, Medicare is only going to pay 80% of whatever that doctor bills you at. So who's responsible for the 20%? You are. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So now there is this thing that if you meet with some people or people are signing up for Medicare, Social Security knows how much money you've been making over those 40 quarters or whatever the time frame you were in there, and they may end up charging you more money for your Part B premium. Okay, and it's called IRMA. Okay, and it is an acronym that stands for, what is it? Come on, Troy. Your extra I can't remember. Oh, income related monthly adjustment. Okay, and so they adjust your income and you pay more money for your Part B premium. Okay, and you will run into some people that fall under that category, and they'll say, well, I'm not paying 185, I'm paying a lot more. So automatically that might tell you that they have an IRMA. Okay. Also, they'll look back the last 3 years is what they do to determine whether or not they're going to charge you more. And some people have to do what is referred to as a spin down. Okay. They have to do a spin down to reduce that so that after they get past a certain period of time, their monthly premium could drop back down to 185 after they go through the spin down phase of the income that they made over the last 3 years. Okay. Those are very unique situations and you will run into them from time to time. So your Medicare Part B is for doctor and outpatient coverage. Everybody understand Medicare Part B? Medicare Part B and Part A, Medicare Part A and Part B are part of what? Original Medicare, right?
Yeah. Can you briefly describe what a spin down is?
Spin down would be if they determined that they did a look back over the last 3 years that you made more than what the normal is, you would be able to get away with doing a spin down by saying, well, I only made that for the last 3 years. That wasn't my normal. And you have to wait so many years and paying that IRMA penalty before you get to the point to where they drop down to the 185. Okay. We can dig into that deeper in another training where we can go through a full IRMA, what they call penalty and stuff like that, and really dive deep in it. But for the purposes of how we're going to be, the product that we're going to be selling, you may not run into it too much unless you are focusing on Medicare supplements, and we'll come to that also. Does everybody understand Part A and Part B of Medicare?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So there's also another option that is available to seniors. Okay. So a senior, when they turn 65, and I'm going to demonstrate this here in a little bit on paper as though I was meeting with somebody, you have two possibilities that you could participate in. One, you could participate in original Medicare plus Medigap or a Medicare supplement and a Part D prescription premium payment to cover your drugs. Those three things together, the original Medicare Part A and B, remember, you still have to meet that deductible for Part A, which is $1,600, right? You're still going to have to meet your deductible for your Part B of 200, was it 257? I can't remember exactly. You're still going to have to meet your Part B premium, your deductible for that, okay? And then Medigap or a Medicare supplement will pay that 20% that I told you would be responsible for on approved Medicare procedures. It has to be an approved Medicare procedure. You can't go in for cosmetic surgery and think that your supplement's going to pick it up. If Medicare covered the 80%, then your Medicare supplement will cover the other 20%. You also will have to elect to have a Part D prescription plan to pay for your drugs. These three things together, your 185 that they're taking out of your Social Security check plus your Medicare supplement, okay? Your Medicare supplement could be anywhere from $120 to $180 initially when you start it, but it doesn't come with any dental or vision or hearing benefits, okay? So you might have to add on a third policy to cover that if somebody wants to pick up a Medicare supplement. Now we're going to go into how you make a determination or how you help a senior make a determination on which one is best. The other opportunity is a Medicare Advantage Part C. Medicare Advantage Part C covers Part A, it covers Part B, and if it's set up correctly and you get what is referred to as a MA plan, MAPD, you have a Medicare Advantage and a prescription drug plan all rolled into one.
I have a question. You mentioned the drug plan under Part B, but how's that different from Part D?
No, I don't. If I did, it was out of. I didn't mean to say that.
Oh, okay.
It's just Part D, right?
Right. Part D.
Right.
Part D is for your drug coverage. It covers all your prescriptions. Okay.
Okay. So there's no Part B drug plan. It's Part D.
Right. Part D.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Now, so I'm not even going to go there. So your Medicare Advantage Part C encompasses original Medicare Parts A and B. Okay. Covers that. So it's going to, the Medicare Advantage Part C is going to cover all your hospital stays. It's going to cover all of your doctor visits. And with it, you don't have to meet the
Deductibles?
deductible, the $1,600 deductible for your Part A. Okay.
Hey, Troy, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you say Part C, right? Talking about C as in Charlie.
C as in Charlie, correct.
Okay, thank you, boss.
So you have to decide to pick up Part C, or stay on original Medicare. And when you're on original Medicare, when you make that decision, you don't have to have a Medigap plan, but you do want to pick up a Part D prescription plan to cover your drugs because the drug costs are astronomical if you don't have a prescription drug plan to pay for that. If you choose not to elect one too soon, you could end up paying a penalty if you don't pick it up right at the point where you qualify for Medicare Part A and B. You understand that? There could be a penalty that you end up paying for not electing to pick up Part D too fast, and also a penalty for not choosing Part B when you should have picked it also. Okay.
So, did you say that Part C does include prescriptions, or they still need to get Part D for that?
No, Part C will cover all of it. Will cover everything.
Okay.
Okay. So Medicare Advantage, when somebody chooses Medicare Advantage, and this will be in another training, but I'm going to throw it in there also. You can choose, Crystal, just an MA plan, which covers Part A and Part B, and you wouldn't need to pick up a Part D because you have other credible coverage, such as you're a veteran in the military, or you're retired from the military, and they cover all of your prescription costs. Okay.
Mhm.
So you wouldn't have to pick up a Part D prescription plan then, and you could get away with just having a Part C plan that's just the MA side only. And there's another training that we're gonna do where it talks about MA, PD, and MA and the veteran plans. We're gonna go through that. But what the takeaway from here is I want you to understand that Medicare Advantage Part C has Parts A, has Part B, and will have Part D in it also, all encompassed in one plan. And it's a private plan run by private companies. You understand that?
Okay, so if they do original Medicare, that's through the government, but if they do Medicare Advantage, it's a private company?
It's a private company that works with the federal government. So basically what happened is these private companies determined that they could get into the healthcare business, and they went to the federal government and they said, hey, we can do this better than what you do. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll Part A and Part B and Part D into one plan, and we're going to call it Part C. And because we're going to do it better than you do, we're going to require you, the federal government, to send that $185 that they're withholding out of your check for Part B, and also some of that money that you've been paying into the system from the day you started working goes to this private company to cover your Medicare costs, your health care costs.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Any questions on anything we've covered thus far?
Mhm.
Now, inside of Medicare Advantage Part C, there are some costs that could come up that could put you in a position to where you need something else to cover that. And that's where the term, which you've heard me mention a couple times, is hospital indemnity. So when we start exploring what these Part C plans look like and all the benefits that they give and what some of the co-pays are and some of the hospital stay visits, even though you don't have to pay the deductible for your hospital stay, you still have to pay to stay in the hospital. And some of these plans will cover that stay starting day 1 through 5. When we dive into these plans, you'll see what they cover. And I'll show you how, when you're selling a Medicare Advantage plan, a Part C plan, what costs you're going to look for that they still may have to come out of pocket and pay, okay, to cover co-pays and things like that. How you can sell this other plan along with it called a hospital indemnity. So in a hospital, in a Part C type plan, if you have to pay $300 a day to stay in the hospital for the first 20 days, a hospital indemnity plan will cover your hospital stay. It will give you $300 a day that you can reimburse the hospital for. Also, if you have to go, if an ambulance comes and picks you up inside of these Medicare Advantage plans, it will say how much it's going to cost you as the recipient of that healthcare plan, how much you have to pay for an ambulance ride or to be airlifted in a helicopter. They'll tell you how much you have to pay. So we always recommend to some of our clients, if they're somewhat sickly, okay, and they're getting up there in age, you may want to get a hospital indemnity plan, which they're very expensive. You can see the affordable cost is anywhere from $25 to $50 a month for the premium to cover these extra costs. In 2023, I had a client that I signed her up on a MAPD plan, and I also sold her a hospital indemnity plan. I think this was a client that I've been telling you guys about. She went into the hospital about 8 times in 2024, and she just got a check for all the reimbursement of money she paid for about $4,000 from her hospital indemnity plan. Okay. Any questions on hospital indemnity?
Well, before the hospital indemnity, I have a question. If you're in a Part C plan, a Medicare Advantage plan, now you don't have to pay the deductible for the hospital, right? That $1,600, you don't have to pay that.
Right.
But you still have to pay the copay, the 20%, unless you have hospital indemnity.
No, you still have to pay for the daily hospital stay.
How many days are there? The first, how many days you have to pay $300?
Each plan is different. So some of the MAPD plans cover the hospital stay, some of them don't.
I see. Okay.
And that's where, when you're reviewing the Medicare Advantage plan with your client, those are some of the things you're going to be looking at. How much does it cost on a copay for a specialist? How much is the hospital stay per day? So some of these plans will say hospital stay is $0 days 1 through 5, but if you stay in there on day 6, it's going to cost you $300 a day with this current plan you have. And
why would somebody choose a Medicare Advantage plan where they're going to also need another policy, hospital indemnity, over a Medicare Advantage plan that covers all those hospital costs?
Because of this little thing right here called a zero premium for that Medicare Advantage plan. Remember when we had this Medicare, when we did original Medicare, and we were paying $180 for a Medigap plan, plus we have to then buy a Part D plan to cover our drugs. These Part D plans can be anywhere from $50 to $100 a month for drug coverage. So with your Medigap at $180 plus your Part D coverage, you're up to $280 a month, as opposed to over here, you're at $0.
I see. So mainly your out-of-pocket costs balance against your premiums.
Your monthly out-of-pocket cost, right? Okay. Now, little caveat here. In some of these plans, this Medicare Advantage Part C plan, you've seen it advertised. It's called a Part B premium give back. So when you sign up with Humana, which is a private company that does Medicare Advantage, they have a plan that they'll give you back a portion of that $185 that they're taking out of your Social Security check. I don't recommend them for people that are, and usually those plans, the other costs, the copays and stuff sometimes are a little higher. I recommend those plans for veterans. And when we get in talking about what type of plans to pick for clients, I'll show you why they benefit veterans more. Okay.
Mhm.
Generally, for somebody that rarely goes to the doctor, they can get this plan that gives them back the Part B premium. Okay.
Mhm.
Any questions on the Medicare options, the two main Medicare options? We're gonna dive deeper into it because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna demonstrate this for you, and how that works. So when I meet with a client,
When you say the Medicare options, you mean Medicare Advantage versus Original, right?
right,
Okay.
I'm gonna talk to you how I demonstrate this to show you how I demonstrate this for a client.
Okay.
So when you're making your choices, there's a number of things you have to consider and things you have to probe the client and ask questions so you can help lead them in the right direction to make some good decisions. Okay. One, access your health. Consider your current health status and expect medical needs. So, meaning if you're very sick, you're a person that's going to be constantly going to the hospital, we're going to possibly recommend a different plan other than putting you onto a Medicare Advantage plan if you can afford it. Okay. We're going to look at your budget. We're going to see what your budget looks like. We're going to consider your doctor preferences. Okay. Some people don't want to be in a managed plan like a Medicare Advantage plan because they're usually managed and you're limited to a network of doctors. Some people want the freedom and the flexibility to go to any doctor they want to. Also, Medicare Advantage plans are only good for that particular Medicare Advantage plan you are on is only good for the area and where you live. So they change based upon the different counties. We're going to go back and cover that here also. Okay. So people like the freedom of being on original Medicare because you can go wherever you want. And any doctor that takes Medicare, all you got to do is show your red, white, and blue card, and he knows he's billing the federal government for that. Or the hospital knows they're billing the federal government for that after you pay your deductible for the hospital. Okay. So what I want to do, any questions so far? Does anybody know a lot more than they did before they came to this call?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me, somebody, I'm going to ask, I'm testing for knowledge right now. What is original Medicare?
Original Medicare.
Part A
Part
and
B?
B, skilled nursing,
It's
minimum
Part A and
stay,
B.
stay,
Right. Original
hospital
Medicare.
before they pay hospice.
Right. Right. Original Medicare is Part
Mhm.
A and Part B.
And Part B is doctor outpatient coverage.
Right. And if you have original Medicare, what else do you need to make a selection to have also if you don't have it from someplace else?
Prescription?
Prescription
Drugs, yeah.
prescription
So
drug.
Part D?
Part D.
Part D, yeah.
If I have original Medicare and I have a Part D prescription plan, how much of the coverage is Medicare going? How much are they going to pay for my hospital and all of that? What are they going to pay? What's the maximum they will pay up to?
80%.
80%. So how do I cover that 80%?
The Medigap.
For the supplement.
Cover the 20%.
The 20%. I'm sorry. Yeah, the 20%. For the Medicare.
Right. Medigap, Medicare supplement.
Right. So if I have original Medicare and I have a Medicare supplement plan and I have Part D prescription plan and I want to get a facelift, is Medicare going to pay for that?
No.
No.
It's not a medical necessity.
Right. What about, and I probably didn't say this, so this isn't a trick question. What about if I need dental care? Is original Medicare going to pay for my dental care?
No. Part C.
Part C would though, right?
Yes.
And they
Yeah.
also, if I need hearing aids, original Medicare is not going to pay for my hearing aids. They're not going to pay for a hearing exam. So the federal government feels like you don't need to be able to hear, see, or feel. They feel like that's
They don't want you to hear anything.
right.
Really?
That's a leisure.
So,
It's a luxury. A luxury.
Right.
So if somebody's on original Medicare and they need the dental, vision, or hearing, is that just they either have to pay out of pocket or do some sort of, I mean, obviously it would make more sense to do the Part C, but like if they just don't want to for some reason.
They're going to have to pay out of pocket.
But
Or,
they can get a special plan just for that.
right, you can buy, and we sell them. You guys sell them also. We can sell a dental, vision, and hearing plan also.
Like Delta Dental, you know.
Right. It's going to be extra costs.
For sure.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any questions? Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go into and I'm going to demonstrate how I would go through and explain this to someone. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Everybody good?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Hopefully this works right. Been playing with this all day long, making sure it's set up right. All right, can you guys see that piece of paper and see my hand?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Awesome.
The hand just disappeared.
Yeah. All right, there it is again with the mouse. All right.
Are you gonna include this? Because you're gonna send us the slides, right? Can you include this too? Because I'm on my phone and I can't
Yes,
see it.
Yeah, can't read that.
What I'm going to do, so if you're on your phone, sometimes you can zoom in, but I'm going to send you this piece of paper and I'm going to send you the recording of this meeting. Okay.
Oh yeah, I can't zoom in. Okay, cool.
All right. All right. So if I go meet with somebody, Andrea, are you there? She was. Let's see if she's still.
I am here.
All right. I want you to be my test candidate, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. All right. So Andrea is an agent of ours. She's been working with me since the beginning, and she's skilled in all areas of Medicare. She's really good at what she does. She speaks Spanish. So if you have someone that you want to not have stuff get lost in translation, she can help you with that. Okay. Chris does speak Spanish too, but I haven't heard it. I know Barbara has. How good is it, Barbara?
It's pretty good.
Terrible.
Pretty good.
All right.
Muy
Okay.
bueno.
All right. All right. So.
Me too. Don't forget about me, man.
All right. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to meet with Miss Surface. Miss Surface, how are you today? I appreciate you letting me come in and meet with you. And my goal today is to make sure you have an understanding of where you are in life in regards to your health care and Medicare. And because Medicare is very confusing. Okay. And currently right now you're just turning 65, and it's a good thing that you got me in here so we can walk through this and make sure you make some good decisions. Okay. So if Andrea was on a plan already, I would say, listen, I'm going to go through this information, and my goal is for you to figure out what kind of plan do you currently have now, why do you have it, okay, and how do you benefit from the plan that you're currently on. So I want you to view this information through this process, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, so let's get started. So, Andrea, let me ask you, have you been working more than 40 hours a week for the last all your life, pretty much?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great, great. Reason why I ask that is because that qualifies you to participate in Medicare. There are some people that don't qualify for it because they might have worked part-time jobs or worked under the table or something. If you didn't fulfill the 40 plus quarters in your lifetime, you might have worked 30 to 39 and there may be an extra cost. But because you did work 40 plus hours, Medicare Part A is what is referred to as your hospital coverage. And you don't have to pay anything for that. It doesn't cost you anything monthly. But if you did go into the hospital, you would still have to meet a $1,600 deductible before Medicare pays for anything. Okay. And Medicare is going to pick up any balance. Sorry, hold on. That was obnoxious, wasn't it? I have an air compressor. It was my air compressor decided to cut on. So if you went into the hospital, you would have a $1,600 deductible that you would have to meet, and then Medicare would pick up the balance. Also, if you went into the hospital, Andrea, you would end up, if you stayed in the hospital beyond 60 days, you're going to have to pay $408 a day from day 61 to 90. And then days 91 through 150, you're going to pay $816. That's a lot of freaking money, isn't it?
Especially when you're in the hospital.
Yes.
And
Way
that
too
can't
much.
work.
I remember Andrea's the client. Let Andrea speak. All right.
Gotcha.
I appreciate you, Dora. All right. So Medicare is going to pick up the balance of anything above those amounts. Okay. And also, if you were in the hospital for a little bit and you have to stay in the hospital for at least 3 days and they move you to a skilled nursing facility, Medicare is going to pick up days 1 through 20. They're going to pay all of that. But if you stay in that skilled nursing facility beyond days 21 through 100, Medicare is going to require, will require you to pay $204 a day. Okay. God forbid if you went to the hospital and they determined that nothing could be done for you and they sent you home, that you had so much time to live, they would also pick up your home hospice and home health care services to help keep you comfortable in your last days of life. Okay. So currently, right now, because you're turning 65, you automatically pick up your Part A and you don't have to pay anything for it, zero cost, because you did work 40 plus quarters on an average in your lifetime. Okay. Then you also have this thing referred to as Medicare Part B. Medicare Part B is going to cover all of your doctor visits. It's going to cover all of your outpatient care, lab work, and more. Okay. And it's also going to have a deductible of $257 that you're going to have to pay and meet. And they're also going to take $180 out of your check, of your Social Security check, to cover this cost. After you pay your deductible, though, you're still going to be left with 20% that you're going to be responsible for. Okay. And Medicare will pick up the difference of 80%. Do you understand that aspect of Medicare so far, Andrea?
Yes, I do.
Any questions about Part A and Part B for you?
No.
Okay. So because there's a Part A and a Part B, some people love what is referred to as what we call original Medicare. And they like that ability to have original Medicare on it, along by itself. So let me ask you some questions, Andrea. How's your health right now?
As good as I can be at 65.
Okay. Any family history of heart disease, COPD, diabetes, or anything like that?
Just diabetes.
Diabetes. Okay. And your family more than likely has probably got it under control through medication and things like that, right?
Correct.
All right. So by you being because Medicare is the way it is and it's complicated, you have the choice to determine whether or not you want to stay on original Medicare. Okay. So we're going to call this over here Medicare Original. And guys, you're going to figure out you don't need to be too smart because I suck at spelling. So if I misspell something wrong on the paper here, please don't beat me up. All right. I try to abbreviate as much as I can if I can't spell the word. So I'm going to call this a Medicare Original. Okay, so Medicare Original. Now, when we talked about Part A and Part B, you notice that you have to be responsible for that 20%. Remember, so to cover that, we're going to suggest that if you go on Medicare Original, that you also pick up a supplement. Okay, and then you're also going to need to have something to pay to cover your prescription drugs because drugs are very expensive. Okay. Now there are a lot of there are some pros and cons when you're on original Medicare and you pick up a supplement. One of the pros, I like to call it a pro, is that you are aware of what your monthly, you're going to be aware of what your monthly premium is for your Medicare sup and your Part D prescription. So you'll have a cost that you can predict every month what that's going to be. I'm calling that a pro. Another pro is you can use this plan anywhere in the United States. Okay, anywhere you go. Do you like to travel? Do you have grandchildren or people you like to go see in other states, other parts of the country?
Yes, I guess.
Andrew? All right, that question was for you, Andrea. Do you like to travel and go out of town, or do you stay pretty much in the area where you live right now?
I love to travel.
You love to travel. Okay, so the original Medicare with the supplement and the Part D prescription would probably be a good plan for you to have if you like to travel a lot and you're out of town a lot. Just remember you're going to have a cost with the Medicare supplement. The Medicare supplement is going to be anywhere from $120 to $180, and then your Part D prescription plan, that's going to run you anywhere from $50 to $100. Okay, so far we could be potentially up to about $230 or $280 for you to cover that plan. Plus, they're going to take $185 out of your paycheck, out of your Social Security check every month. Okay. Now, there are some cons when you have this plan, and one of the cons is, even though I said it was a pro, I'm going to say the monthly premium. Okay. The monthly premium can also be an issue because this cost that I just laid out here, it will increase based upon your age. Okay, it will increase, and you will also have annual increases that you're going to have to be responsible for also. Okay, so those costs, even though we said it was a pro, knowing what you're going to pay, they will notify you when that's going to go up. One of the good things about the Medicare supplement is that no matter how bad your health is right now or what your health situation is, it's guaranteed, okay? Guaranteed issue plan that they have to give you this plan when you choose it. Okay, so once you pick a Medicare supplement and you're planning on staying in original Medicare, they will not require you to go through any additional underwriting or anything. But one of the problems, though, with original Medicare, being on original Medicare with a supplement, is you don't have any dental. Okay, there's no dental, so this is a con. There's no dental, there's no hearing for hearing exams and hearing aids, and there's no vision coverage. Okay. I see you currently wear glasses right now. You probably pay a good amount of money for those and get an exam every year. But teeth wise, you know, a lot of people, when you start getting older, your teeth are falling out. You might need a set of teeth. You might need implants and things like that, false teeth. They're not going to cover that. Okay. So that's one option for you. Okay. Another option is something that is referred to as Medicare Advantage. Okay. And Medicare Advantage is real, it's still real Medicare. But the good thing about Medicare Advantage is this particular plan, we call it a Part C plan. It covers Part A, which is your hospital. It also covers Part B, which is your doctor. Okay. And it also covers your drug costs, Part D, for prescriptions. Okay. And another benefit here is it also has dental, it has hearing, and it also has vision coverage. That's pretty good, wouldn't you agree? Now, another plus with these plans, Andrea, is guess how much it's going to cost you? Most of the plans that we offer are $0. It doesn't cost you anything except for keeping your Medicare Part A active and your Part B active. They are going to still deduct that $185 from you, okay? And it will cover your Medicare Part C, okay? Now, there are some other possible additional costs. When you go to the doctor, you may have a copay that you have to pay for your regular doctor visits. Most of the plans have a zero copay, okay? But some of them may have a small copay. There's a specialty for specialists, okay? You may pay anywhere from $0 to $20 to see a specialist, copay, okay? Any questions on what I've shown you so far, Andrea?
No, no, not at all. Wait,
I have a question, Troy. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, let's say you say when you are 65, you're ready to retire. Let's say when you are almost 65, you went to the doctor. Let's say you have cancer and you have like a year or 2 years to live. Medicare is going to give you the coverage no matter what. Is that right?
Yes, they cannot deny you for pre-existing conditions. Okay. And
Okay.
also, this is where if you're going to be, that's a good question, Gustavo, because if I walk into a situation and somebody, and I ask that question, they tell me they have cancer and they have things like that, and they're turning 65, and financially their budget will allow them to afford it, I'm possibly going to tell them that it's going to be best for them to possibly pick up a Medicare supplement, because the Medicare supplement, when you have the supplement, you don't pay any co-pays for the doctors, for specialist costs and stuff like that. So I'm possibly going to recommend that they pick up a Medicare supplement. Okay. But remember the cons.
Thank you.
Remember the cons are no dental and no hearing and vision. Now, what makes Medicare Advantage so unique is that it's a private health plan, okay, that is still funded by the government. They pay these private companies, okay, to offer you Medicare. Now, the good thing about that is when you have competition, okay, when you have competition in any market, competition will drive prices down, okay, and benefits generally go up. Now, we're going to stop for a minute and I'm going to say this. Insurance companies, everybody understands, all insurance companies don't want to do what?
Pay out.
They don't want to pay.
Hey.
Right. They want to minimize, they want to take the least amount of risk that they can possibly take. Okay. They don't want to pay for you to be in the hospital all the time. Okay. Or constantly paying for a test and all types of stuff. So one of the benefits that are in several of the benefits that are inside these Medicare Advantage plans is you'll get a gym membership, okay? Because they want you to go to the gym and they want you to become physically fit. They will also give you money to buy food, over-the-counter health products, okay? They may even come and clean your house for you. They may even go walk your dog for you. A lot of these plans have these benefits inside of it. They will also give you a ride. They give you a ride to the doctor's office. They'll give you a ride to go to the grocery store. The benefits are designed to keep you as healthy as possible so they spend as least amount of money as possible. You understand that?
Mhm.
So the good thing about being on a Medicare Advantage plan is a lot of these benefits. Now, if you're financially in a position to where this doesn't really excite you, and like you said, Andrea, you like to travel a lot. Now, these plans will allow you to see a doctor. These Medicare Advantage plans, you can see a doctor outside of the network in an emergency type situation. Okay, you can see a doctor on them. They're not going to not treat you because you still have your red, white, and blue card, and nobody can turn that down that accepts Medicare. They still have to accept it. Okay, and based upon how the plan works when you're out of network, they do a review to determine how much of that they're going to pay. But there is something available that we refer to as hospital indemnity, and the hospital indemnity plan will pay some of these other costs. Okay, and we can get very a la carte when we're setting up these hospital indemnity plans. We can get very a la carte with them to where we can pick and choose the different benefits that we want. There are benefits like hospital stay, there's nursing care stay, there's ambulance ride reimbursement. All these are reimbursements that they will pay you when you if you had to go into the hospital and your plan said they weren't going to pay it. This other policy will cover that. It's referred to as a hospital indemnity plan. So
Hey,
it's
Troy,
yeah,
question.
yes.
What about caregiving?
What
Like
about,
in a hospice, is that included in the whole enchilada? Is that right? With this A, B, and C, correct?
what did you about what now?
Hospice, like caregiving. You know, let's say you say you
Hospice
can go
care.
up to 60 days, right?
Hospice, you're saying?
Yes, that's what he's talking about, hospice care, if it's covered.
Yeah, so hospice is covered. If you remember, hospice is covered to run under original Part A anyway. Okay,
No
so
matter what. Okay.
no matter what, it's still going to be covered. Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
okay. So Andrea, looking at this, all of these things that we talked about, and generally, guys, I will have covered the front part of the page explaining parts A and B before I turn it over and do this. I would go through this. All of these, the Part C plan is going to cover all of this. Okay, it's going to take care of all of these balances that Medicare is not going to pay. You may have some small co-pays for your doctor visits and specialty visits and things like that, but it's going to generally pick up all of it. Part C plan. So based upon doing an assessment with Andrea at first, asking her about her health, asking her about her family history and things like that, if she doesn't have an objection to being inside of a managed plan, okay, more than likely, this is zero premium, no out-of-pocket cost based upon this 120 that she would pay for 120, 180 for $50 to 100 for Medicare Part D and the original Medicare cost. More than likely, a lot of people will pick these plans because they don't have to pay anything. Not all of them have a zero premium. I've seen some of the premiums as high as like $100, but that's rare, very rare in some of the very remote areas of the country. Okay. Some of these plans will also, to entice you to pick the Medicare Advantage plan, they'll give you back your $185. So, number one, it's zero cost per month, plus you would get your $185 back. Pretty good deal. Would you agree?
I agree. So I'm gonna act as a client here. Okay, so between the two, you're telling me one is gonna cost me $0 a month, and then the other one I may have a premium. Is that correct?
One is going to cost you $0 if we choose a $0 premium plan. Yes,
Okay.
some of the premiums
Okay.
could be higher, but you're definitely unequivocally going to have premiums with this other plan because nobody.
Okay,
Go ahead.
and you were talking that Medicare is a managed Advantage is a managed plan. Can you what does that mean exactly?
So a managed plan, meaning you've heard the term HMO, right?
Yes.
So when they first came out, when Medicare Advantage first came out, they were all part of every plan was an HMO. So you have one doctor that manages your care. Then a little bit later, people said, "Well, I don't like that," and they started running back. And like I said, these are a private company, and they said, "Hey, we need to offer people the freedom to go to any doctor they want." So there are some Medicare Advantage plans that are premium plans that are a PPO where you can go see any doctor no matter what, as long as they take regular Medicare.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yes. And then you were talking about a deductible. Is this Part C an overall one deductible, or is there different deductibles?
There is no deductible on the Part C plan except when you get down to your prescription drugs. There are going to be some deductibles on your prescription drugs, but in 2024, they did mandate that all Medicare Advantage plans, the maximum that you will ever pay out of pocket for your prescriptions is $2,000. It used to be way higher than that. We used to have this thing that ended up, they called it catastrophic prescription drug coverage, where you went into the donut hole. It was very complicated, but now it's set at $2,000 is the maximum that you will ever pay out of pocket for your prescriptions if you choose this plan over here. And the same way for this plan over here, if you had a Part D prescription plan, which you wouldn't pick a Medicare, you wouldn't go on original Medicare and a supplement and not have a Part D, they're also limited to $2,000 for drugs also. So that's something that's across the board. You will pay the deductibles up to $2,000 for either one of those plans, period.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
When you threw the hospital indemnity in between, I forgot if that one is to complement the supplement or the advantage.
It's to complement the advantage because there are some so no matter what, the Medicare Advantage plan, there are very few that I see cover ambulance rides, okay, and also hospital stay visits. Remember, original Medicare has a days, where is it at here? Days 1 through 60 is zero, okay,
Right.
original, and day 61 through 90 is $408. So when we get over to here, those plans are broken down in that way also, and that's something as your agent, I'm going to really make sure that that's not going to be astronomical, because everything else could be great in the plan, but there could be major costs when you go to the hospital if you have to do a hospital stay. So in that case, I'm going to highly recommend that you pick up a hospital indemnity plan for $20 to $25 to $50 that will cover that, so you don't have to come out of pocket on that.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. So based on that, I would then go back to the client and ask them, currently, based upon what you've heard, you should know what you currently have right now, and you should understand why you have it and how you're going to benefit from it. Okay. So when helping a client decide not, and here's the thing, and I'm going to pull up something else here. I'm going to show you guys. There are certain words when you're selling Medicare that you can't say. You can't say, I recommend that you take this plan. You can't say that. They have to make a decision. So you have to lay out the information for them to come through to their own conclusion through their own deductive reasoning on which plan is best. So that's why a good explanation of what parts A and B are and how Part D works with that and how they can have all of that in a Part C type plan.
What if they ask you for a recommendation because they trust you?
You're going to have to be very creative in how you answer that question. Okay. Now,
Yeah, if they propose the old, if you were me, what would you?
Can you like frame it by saying, well, I'm not really supposed to give you a recommendation, but if I were in your shoes, you want to know what I would do? I don't know. Can you frame it like that?
No, you
Yeah,
have to
that's
you
what I
have to
meant.
mainly base it on it all depends on what your oh my god. Oh my god, I lost my train of thought.
Okay,
It all
it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
so you're so like Andrea was, and I'm not going to be able to say exactly what she was going to say, but in a situation like that, I usually will come behind and say something like, if you were my mom,
Okay.
or if I was you, if this was me, and I knew I could not afford to keep up with these costs over here, I would opt for the plan that I didn't have to pay anything.
correct, yes.
Okay,
Thank
that
you.
makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
there you go. So you're giving a reason. You're not just saying this is what I recommend, but this is
right,
why
right. You
I would
can't
choose
say
that.
Yeah, because you're on tape. You're being recorded when
Right.
you're talking.
Sure.
you're only being recorded. You're only being recorded when you're over the phone because you have
Oh, if you're in person, you're not.
you're not
Okay.
being recorded, right?
So you could say off the record,
Yeah. I mean,
depending on what kind of relationship you have with this client. Maybe you're
right,
close,
right,
Maybe they're a family member or something, and then
right,
Long lost auntie.
right. I mean,
One more note
Mhm.
on this whole thing. Just remember that whenever you're talking to a client, you can never say this is free.
right, and
You
that's
can
what.
always have to say $0 premium.
Can you guys see the screen right now?
Yeah, I can.
well, there's very little that, if anything, that is free anyway.
Right. These,
Somebody's paying for it.
so this is I'm going to send this to you also. So you're going to have this sheet, the front of this sheet with this information. Okay. You're going to have to watch my video to see how I demonstrated this.
Please.
But I'm also going to send you this sheet here, things that you cannot say. Okay. You can't say, believe it or not, you can't say I'm a Medicare agent.
Really?
Now,
Wow.
you can say I'm certified in Medicare, but you can't say I'm a Medicare agent because they're thinking that somebody could twist that around to where they think you're part of the federal government.
Oh,
Like
Oh,
Andrea
God, that's
just
the
said.
last thing I want them to think.
I didn't know that. That's really weird.
So like Andrea just said, you can't say the plans are free. Okay. You can't say this plan is the best one in the market. You can't say that. Okay. Now, they do have, every plan has a rating system and it goes from 1 to 5 stars. You can say this is a 3-star plan. Okay. Or this is a 4-star plan, a 5-star plan. Okay. And
Just think about it in terms of hotel ratings.
right. And the way these plans get rated, they get rated based upon complaints to CMS from different against different carriers. Is how they rate these plans. What is this?
My understanding of the ratings is it's not a one size fits all. Like they have ratings for different aspects of the plan too. You could be a 5-star in one aspect.
Well, no,
or
they rate
3-star.
they overall the rating is rates the whole plan.
Oh,
And that's something, you don't want to get in the habit where you're selling it based upon the stars because
right.
even when the stars are there, the plan still could be bad for the consumer
Sure.
aspect.
Sure.
Okay. So these are words that you cannot say. I'm also going to send you
Yes.
frequently used acronyms. Okay. All these acronyms are laid out in this glossary of acronyms. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. I've been wanting that.
MA means Medicare Advantage. MAAE, Medicare Advantage Annual Election Period. Okay. So you're going to learn all about election periods, okay? True out of pocket, okay? So there's a lot of acronyms surrounding Medicare that I would suggest these items that I'm going to send you. One of the things, and Gustavo, you can speak about this. When I email it to you, make sure you save it and save it in a folder on your computer, on your phone, where you know how to access it again. Okay.
Yeah. Great.
Very.
Come on, don't start with me. I know I am the lazy bum right here. No, no.
Oh, you're not the lazy bum.
I'm not the computer expert. That's what it is, brother. No.
But
Hey, Gustavo, I can commiserate with you. I'm the same way.
no.
I'm not the only one.
So I'm gonna send you this one pager for Medicare. Okay, I would print, if you're gonna be doing in-person visits, print this out. You'll have it as a guide. Okay, and then here, this is a Medicare supplement. The complete guide to Medicare supplements. Okay,
Oh,
it's
looks
from
good.
it's from one of our competitors called Ritter. Okay, it was originally published in 2018, republished in 2022. I'll verify that this is the most updated version. Okay, but in this little brochure, it also goes back through standard Medicare subplans and benefits. And then this part right here, when you start talking about Medicare supplements, this part will confuse the hell out of you, because Medicare supplements still use letters for the different plans, but they're completely opposite or different. They do not coincide with parts A, B, C, and D.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Medicare supplements, you can buy a Medicare supplement plan A, B, D, G, K, L, M, N, C, and F. Okay.
Where's Z?
There is no Z.
Oh,
Okay?
because it is C.
And if you go and like I said, this might be out of date, so I'll make sure I get you the most accurate version of this. Okay, but it goes into which one of these plans is best for your client to have. Okay, so if you can see here, you can see where on the foreign travel. Okay, so let me blow this up a little bit. On the foreign travel side of all the plans that cover foreign travel, they still only cover 80% of foreign travel.
Mhm.
So your Medicare plans are really made to help to benefit you here in the United States. Okay. So this little brochure will help walk you through Medicare supplements a little bit. Okay. And we'll do a whole training on Medicare supplements, who they really fit best for. And they usually fit better for people that are financially well off. Okay. People that have money, they don't want to be inconvenienced. They want to have everything at their fingertips, believe it or not. That's not a bad thing. I'm just telling you how that works. They don't want to be in any type of managed care and stuff like that. So they like the flexibility of having these. So if you decide in working with our company, you're going to specialize in working with people that you're going to be selling a lot of annuities and things like that. You're working with people that are working, they have good savings accounts and stuff like that. You're going to want to dive more into the Medicare supplement side of the business. Now, here's a small tidbit about Medicare supplement. Medicare supplements, to sell them, you don't have to be certified. Okay. You don't have to deal with the pain in the ass portion of the certification. But the residuals aren't as lucrative as Medicare Advantage is. Okay. The downside with selling life insurance only and selling annuities and specializing in supplements, it takes a long time to get your residual cash flow up unless you're selling a lot of annuities and a lot of high dollar life insurance plans. It can be accomplished, but it's a longer process. Here's something that you can do for business is if you know anybody that is a financial planner. They sell mutual funds, stocks, and bonds. They usually deal with people that are more well off. You can contact them and say, hey, listen, I am a Medicare specialist expert, and I traffic in all things Medicare, mainly Medicare supplements. And you'll get, if you build a relationship with a financial advisory firm and a financial advisor, they'll send you clients to buy Medicare subs and Part D prescription plans. So the only problem with selling Part D prescription plans is you do have to be AHIP certified to sell a Part D prescription plan. Okay. So you could just sell a supplement and tell them to go somewhere else to buy a Part D prescription plan if you didn't want to go through the hassle of being certified.
Can you say I'm a Medicare consultant?
Yeah, you can say Medicare consultant.
Okay.
You know. All right. So based on everything we covered, it's been an hour and a half. What questions do you guys have, and do you feel knowledgeable enough to be able to explain parts A, B, C, and D if somebody was to ask you?
I learned more, but I'm not certified on that. So I couldn't.
Right. And so,
I do, but I think I had a head start having been certified. So.
right. So because you're certified, Herb, this probably tied a lot of it together for you. Am I right?
Yes. And then there were a few little aspects that I didn't know, but most of it I knew.
Okay. So that's a high level overview that would allow you, get back over here. That's a high level overview that would allow you to be able to hold a very intelligent conversation with someone about Medicare. And remember, excuse my French, they don't know shit. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, that's not German. That's Spanish.
so just being present here on this call today, you know more than the average person out there that's trying to figure out Medicare. So with the information that you just gotten, you can now go and indulge in all types of Medicare YouTube videos and really start to increase your knowledge about Medicare, even though you haven't gotten certified with AHIP just yet. But knowing this right here, taking that glossary that I'm going to send you, okay, when you go get AHIP certified, it'll be a lot easier. Wendy, you just finished with AHIP certification, right?
Last year, yeah.
So what is your feeling on what you just learned and listened to just now?
Well, you know, the AHIP certification really gets into the weeds. And they basically just fill you with everything that goes into the program. This is more nuts and bolts, and I'm a more nuts and bolts kind of person.
Right. So AHIP is really going to go into the compliance.
Mm-hmm.
Going to really dive deep into the compliance aspects of selling Medicare, the do's and don'ts of marketing.
They try to scare the crap out of you.
And it looks scary. My first time in doing it, I was like, I ain't doing this shit. I might go to jail.
I thought about it.
Okay. And the second time I attempted to do it, the people said, hey, we're going to hold your hand all the way through it, but they didn't. The third time I met somebody and he said, hey, I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to be there and I'll explain everything to you. And I felt a lot more comfortable working with that person and learning what I did about Medicare, especially when I learned how lucrative it is. And that's what we learned last week. We understand the commission process and structure. Okay. So something that will come up when you're selling Medicare plans for the different carriers, there are plans in certain parts of the country. If you're licensed in that area, for instance, I'm licensed in Virginia. I had a client that I put into a chronic needs plan, And all of a sudden, she says, my doctor says that I have kidney failure and I'm going to require kidney dialysis.
Oh my goodness.
And in this particular part of Virginia, there were no plans that were kidney dialysis plans, okay, that were commissionable. They didn't pay a commission. But my client needed it. So I had to move her off of the plan. I was going to move her off of the plan that she was on into another plan that would have resulted in a chargeback for me, and I wasn't going to earn a commission on it. Luckily, she said, my doctor says my kidneys are fine and I don't need to move. I was like, great.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, they get it wrong sometimes.
Right.
Trust me.
And that's another aspect. If somebody all of a sudden under the age of 65 comes down with kidney failure, they automatically can get on Medicare.
Isn't it Medicaid?
Medicare combined with Medicaid.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. So since you brought up the term, Medicare is the federal government. Medicaid is the state government. So anybody that doesn't qualify for the 40 hours, they'll be subject to just being on Medicaid because the state's like, we got to take care of you no matter what. Okay. And so they'll cover their health care, but they can't get Medicare. Okay. So Medicaid is something we will dive into a little bit. We'll scratch the surface and show you how it lines up with Medicare, and how when you meet those type people that are on Medicaid, the best plan that they can go on. And those particular plans that cater to people that are on Medicaid pay the maximum amount of benefits. I was on a call today. I met a guy. It was a lead that came in, and he's in North Carolina. He's on a special, he's on a double plan, a Medicare and Medicaid plan. And when you're on those plans, everything in those plans, the federal government and the state government pays for everything. You pay nothing out of pocket, nothing. And they give you a debit card. He had a debit card that they were putting $352 on a month for him to buy groceries, over-the-counter items, gasoline, pay for his cell phone, pay portions of his rent. He was getting $352 a month. So he came in as a lead to me, and my job was to shop and see if I could find him more than $352 a month. I couldn't.
Wow.
And so I had to bow out and say, Mr. Reed, you have the best plan out there. Don't let nobody take you off this plan. He says, okay, thank you for that. But what I did get out of it was I got the opportunity to call him back in October to make sure he's still on the right plan. So hopefully what I'm hoping for is that in the aspect of competition, somebody says we're going to give $365 and I'll move him for an extra $15 a month on a debit card so that I could become his agent. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any questions?
I do have one, and it's kind of an oddball question. If you get a senior that, can't pay out of pocket for their premiums, so we put them on the zero premium thing, and then they look at the deductible and they just basically go apoplectic because they see the deductible, they don't have the money even for that. What options are there available to them?
So generally in a situation like that, you're going to, if they're in that position, they're going to be on Medicaid too. If they're that financially distraught, they usually will qualify for Medicaid. And there are some people that when I get on the phone with them, like in the slide, I talk about what their financial situation is. I'll ask them, are you on Medicaid? And they'll say no. And I'll say, if you don't mind me asking, how much do you have coming in a month? And at the same time, if they're in a particular state, I've already Googled it. I've already Googled what is the maximum income that someone can make, or what is the maximum income that would let them qualify for Medicaid. And if I determine based upon them saying, well, I get $1,000 a month, and it says the maximum income you can make is $1,500 a month, I'm going to say, hey, you qualify for Medicaid, Wendy. You need to go down to your state Medicaid office and sign up for Medicaid right away. Okay, because it will cover all those costs.
Okay. Okay.
And they're like,
Good to know.
at that point, they're like, oh my God, I didn't know I could do that. Yes. And after you do that, I want you to call me back, because then we're going to find a real good Medicare and Medicaid plan to put you on that has a lot of extra benefits. And by the way, there's a plan that gives $352 in your area. So I might be able to get you on that. Theoretically, I'm not supposed to bait them in with that, but I'm going to say it anyway, because that's just me. Okay. And they're going to more likely call back.
Well, I mean, they're very budget conscious anyway.
Right. Now, there are situations that you will run into, even though the $2,000 a year cap that somebody may pay for their drugs still may be over the top for them. They, like, for instance, I think I told you guys this. I have one of my clients is on Eliquis, and Eliquis is part of a special tier type drug, and Medicare barely pays for it. Your first initial premium, you got to meet the deductible for the drugs first, and usually your first prescription fill is going to run you about $350 with Eliquis.
Yikes.
Okay, so we have a company that we work with and that's monthly. We have a company that we met while we were in Vegas that can get them prescription, that same Eliquis medication at $150 for a 3-month supply. Okay, and I've already enrolled two clients into that plan already, with the people that I met in Vegas. Okay, so as we get closer to AEP, you guys will have access to all of this stuff. And if you don't know, you're going to say, well, let me see, we might be able to find a solution for that high price drug you're paying for, even though there's a $2,000 maximum. We might be able to find something, and then we'll get back to them and figure it out for them. Any other questions, guys?
Yes. So you just mentioned you talked to somebody in North Carolina, and I have a friend in North Carolina because I lived 10 years there, so I have more than one. It's okay if I contact them, but maybe you do the talking because I'm not certified or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Okay. No matter where your friends are, no matter where you've lived, who you know, we can help anybody in all 50 states, Puerto Rico, and even Chris, where's your friend from? This is where we're gonna find out if Chris is listening or if he just got a picture up. The guy we went out to lunch with, took him to lunch to the
San Francisco?
No, the guy, darn it. The Samoan guy. The
San
American
Francisco. Oh, he's from Samoa, but he lives in San Francisco.
Okay, yeah, but he has relatives in Samoa. Okay, so you can even get licensed to where you can sell in American Samoa also. Okay.
Oh, the territories, huh?
Yeah, right. Which brings up to mind, if anybody knows any natives that live in Hawaii, we're looking for agents in that area. Okay, but they have to be native Hawaiians, because native Hawaiians don't want to talk to American gringos. Okay.
That's funny.
So if you know anybody, that would be helpful. Any questions on anything? All right, I'm gonna throw out 5 test questions. And you got it. Everybody know how to work raising your hand? You know how to work the raise your hand thing on Zoom? Because there's going to be a $20.
I can't even. I
There's
can't
gonna be
even
a
see it.
there's going to be a $20 gift card for the person that gets all 5 of these correct. Andrea, you cannot participate.
No, I know.
I think you won it last time, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. So $20 gift card. I'll either do it at Starbucks or wherever you say. All right. All right. Question. You guys ready? You know how to raise your hand?
I can't even see that on my screen, so
All right,
I'll
well,
just
Here,
listen.
I just did it, so I guess the answer is yes.
okay. Okay. Lower your hand. All right.
I did.
What happens when you turn 65 and you don't elect a Part B of Medicare? What can happen?
Am I included in this reward thing, or?
Yeah. Anybody can answer.
Okay.
And you're AHIP certified, so you should know that.
Yeah. Do you want me to answer it out loud or give somebody else a chance?
Do you know the answer?
Yeah.
Okay. What
I
happened?
know it.
All right, we're gonna give Herb. Go ahead, Herb. What's the answer?
You can be penalized.
You can have a penalty, right? Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
10%.
So Herb for 1. All right. All right. What is the deductible for original Medicare on Part A?
Or original.
I don't want to
Hey,
answer
Nora,
all of them.
Nora has
16,
you had your
32?
hand up. Nora, was that your hand is up?
Wasn't six?
I was trying to figure it out.
Okay, you figured out how to raise your hand. All right.
I don't know how to raise it, but I think it's 1,632.
That's close enough.
Yeah.
We're gonna give it to Barbara. Andrea, you got a question you want to throw at him?
No.
All right. What is the if I'm on a Medicare Advantage plan and I end up staying in the hospital and it's going to cost me $300 a day, what should I do to prevent that from happening? What should I have?
The hospital indemnity.
2 for Barbara. Did anybody else have that answer?
Yeah, I don't see how to raise my hand on here.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
either.
Sorry, Crystal. Okay, Crystal, we're going to give you half a point.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't been able to figure it out either, but that's okay.
All right.
Go to your press on your name, click on your name where it says participants. Click on participants on your name, press your name, and it should show you unmute, mute, and raise your hand.
Mine just says
Okay.
pin and rename. That's it.
Did you click on participants?
Yeah, I did. Got
All right.
got the whole list here. It's just
All right.
not
All right,
letting me do it.
All right, just yell, Wendy, if you're going to be the one to choose it. Or raise your hand. I can see your
Okay.
screen. I can see your screen. Raise your hand in front of your face. All right, here's a question. If I'm on original Medicare and I don't have Medicare Advantage, do I have dental coverage?
No.
1 for Wendy. Okay, Nora raised her hand, but Wendy yelled. I'm sorry. All right, how many questions is that? That's 1, 2, 3. That's 4 questions, right?
4, yeah.
All right, last question. If I'm on how many Medicare supplement? It also what's the confusing part about Medicare supplements that could confuse you with regular original Medicare and stuff like that, if that makes sense.
Not really.
All right, bad question. When you're choosing a Medicare Advantage plan, are they all the same throughout the United States, or are they pertinent to what?
The area you live in.
Yes, they're different.
All right, I feel bad because Nora and Crystal both put up their hands. Tiffany put up her hand. All right.
That was also my answer.
Oh, there, I see you got your
Me
hand up.
too.
I
Depends
get it
on the
now.
state. It's
All
state
right.
by state.
All right.
By county,
No,
right?
it's by county, yeah.
By county. That's the better answer. Who said by county?
I did,
Yeah,
Crystal,
I'm gonna
but
give it
somebody
to.
else did too.
All right. All right. So here we got a two-way. We're gonna say we got a two-way tie between Wendy and Barbara.
how
Okay.
can that happen? I don't I don't remember answering that many right ones. Give it to
Yeah,
Barbara.
All right. So we got a two-way tie. So we're gonna break it with another question.
Wait, what's the score you have, Troy?
I have one for her, two for Barbara, a half for 1.5 for Crystal, and 2 for Wendy.
Hmm.
Am I off?
They
I
were
think so.
cheating. They didn't raise their hand.
I didn't know
I
how.
said give mine to Barbara because I said give mine to Barbara because yeah.
All right. Y'all ready for the We're gonna do one question for Barbara and Wendy.
Oh boy.
Now Wendy's been through AHIP certification. Barbara hasn't. Okay. If I'm on a Medicare Advantage plan, if I'm in California and I am in Florida, is my Medicare Advantage plan going to work?
I think yes.
Wendy?
I think no, just because you're out of area.
All right. The answer is no. You're
Answer
out
is
of
no.
you're out of the answer. Try though, Barbara.
Okay, so you if you get sick in another county or state, you have no coverage.
You have you always, this is something you want to remember. You always have original Medicare.
Okay, but the
Just,
advantage
just
is
not
not
the
gonna-
supplement.
Right.
Didn't you say the Advantage will still pay 80%?
They'll still pay, no, they'll pay for an emergency room visit if you're out of state. Okay. And I guess I should have phrased the question a little bit better. If you had to go to the doctor in another state for like a routine thing and you had a Medicare Advantage plan, they wouldn't pay for your doctor's visit.
There's zero coverage.
Yeah, right.
So
You don't
for an
have any.
emergency, yes.
New question.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, try it again.
You want another question?
Emergency, so you're gonna
To be fair.
Yes.
No.
Y'all feel that question wasn't fair. All right.
Hey, Troy, you're talking to your wall. We can't see you, or at
Oh,
least I can't.
what happened?
There you are.
All right, let me turn.
Hang on. So if you have a Medicare Advantage and you go for some regular doctor thing, you get the flu or whatever, but it's not the emergency room. And you still can use the red, white, and blue card. So then that would be the Part B, right? And they pay. How much do they pay of it? Is that 80% or where is that?
Yeah, they would pay
Just the 80.
they would pay 80% of your doctor's visit.
Okay, that's where I got the 80%
If
from.
you were out of your coverage area.
Right.
Okay. Here's a question. No matter what, if you're in any Part D plan, what is the maximum amount that you can pay for your prescriptions?
$2,000.
$2,000.
All right, Barbara. Barbara
Got
won.
it, Barbara.
Barbara won the
Yay,
gift card.
Barbara.
Yay, Barbara. Woo! All right.
Just
Well,
Quick on the draw there.
all right. All right, guys.
You got to give her a gift card to a place in Italy.
Where you want your gift card to, Barbara?
huh?
Starbucks? You want a Starbucks gift card?
That's all right.
You can
I
handle
don't want to do
Is that
that.
good?
I would just like to participate, and I was paying attention. Obviously, I'm not certified, but I'm learning so much.
Okay, so $20 gift cards on its way. Hey, Chris, you have anything you want to throw out there? You want to add anything you want to talk about since we have ears?
No, I just think, doing this thing for everyone is really helpful.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Glad
much
you-
appreciated for sure.
I
Glad
agree.
you found the time amongst your many tasks today to do it.
Yeah, Chris was on the phone with me. He was trying to tell me something. Like grandkid was in here having me help him fix his tire on his bike, and I think they were out here. My grandkids thinks this is Staples. Okay, so they come out here and borrow every goddamn everything I have. I didn't mean to cuss them. And I can never find my stuff. So I'm like, they call me the angry grandpa now. So
He was like, give me a wrench. Bring back my stapler. Get that dog. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
And I was still paying attention to what Chris was talking about.
Not really, because I asked him, I'm like, what did I just say?
So Nora and Crystal and Nora and Crystal, you both are working on licensing, okay?
Yeah.
And Tiffany just finished. Tiffany's on here. She just took the exam. And Tiffany, you got any words of advice for these two ladies? See, I'm gonna call on y'all and you're not listening. You there, Tiffany?
She's muted, I think.
Yeah, she probably might not know how to unmute. I'll see if I can unmute her.
Yeah, you should be able to as the host.
And I'm asking her to unmute. So, all right. So she's probably busy. So just, so guys, one of the things we have already up and running is a Slack channel. How many of you guys familiar with Slack?
No.
I know of it. I don't use it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever used it before. Maybe once.
All right. As we get closer to AEP, and I think I mentioned that, while you guys are out there writing policies and meeting with clients, one of the things I want to do is make myself available if you need to ask a question. Some of you guys that are getting certified, some of you that may be selling plans between now and AEP, which I would highly recommend. Okay, Andrea, thanks for coming. That I would highly recommend that you do. You'll have access to us to be able to ask questions in a pinch. Okay. The point I want to make here is you're not going to be alone. I don't want you to be intimidated and thinking you're going to be selling these alone. If I have to do a ride along with you here locally, I will. To go out on an appointment with you. If you do a virtual appointment, we can do it via Zoom together. So the point I want to make here is that we're all going to be in this together, be able to help you. Chris is getting up to speed as quickly as possible on the Medicare side. He may be available at that point in time, and some of you that have a little bit more experience. And we're recruiting new agents all the time, so we may bring some agents on that are very skilled in this area and be able to help out also. So I don't want you to be in fear of thinking that you got to know every little thing. I've only been doing this for 2.5, 3 years now, and I still don't know everything, but I know enough to stumble through it to be able to have an intelligent conversation. And Nora, if somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer to it, what do you say?
I'm sorry. What did you say? No, I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
I said, if you're working with somebody and they ask you a question and you don't know how to answer, how do you answer the question?
I will get back to, great question. I will get back to you on that.
Okay. And what you can add into it is, I don't like answering questions unless I'm 100% sure. And I'm about 90% sure on this, but I want to be 100%. Okay.
Absolutely. That's a good one. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if you look more intelligent in reference to being able to answer a question than not being able to. Okay. So that's it for tonight.